Welcome to my channel Starwire Daily. Please share and subscribe and press the bell icon for new updates. The year is 2002. MTV cameras are rolling inside the chaotic, eccentric home of rock legend Ozzy Osbourne and his fierce wife Sharon. The world is about to meet television's most outrageous family. But there's one family member who's nowhere to be found. While Jack and Kelly Osbourne are becoming household names overnight, there's an empty chair at the dinner table and a story that's never been fully told. What would make someone walk away from guaranteed fame, fortune, and a front row seat to one of television's most successful reality shows? What would drive the eldest daughter of one of rock's most legendary couples to choose complete anonymity over the spotlight that was practically handed to her on a silver platter? Today, we're diving deep into the untold story of Aimee Osbourne, the Osbourne daughter who said no to fame, and why that decision would haunt her family for years to come. Welcome back to Starwire Daily, where we uncover the stories behind the stories. I'm your host, and today we're peeling back the curtain on one of Hollywood's most fascinating family mysteries. Let's rewind to the early 2000s. The Osbournes weren't just a family. They were about to become a cultural phenomenon. Ozzy, the Prince of Darkness himself, was trading his leather pants for pajamas, and Sharon was about to prove that behind every great rock star is an even more formidable woman. MTV had struck gold with this concept, a reality show that would give viewers unprecedented access to the domestic life of a rock legend. But here's where the story gets interesting and heartbreaking. Aimee Rachel Osbourne, born in 1983, was 18 years old when MTV came knocking. She was the responsible one, the artistic one, the daughter who inherited her father's musical gifts but her mother's business sense. She was also the one who looked at those cameras and said something that would shock her family to its core. No. Can you imagine the tension in that household? Here's Sharon Osbourne, a woman who's built her entire career on managing her husband's image, on understanding the power of publicity and media. She's just secured what could be the most lucrative deal of their family's life, and her own daughter wants nothing to do it. In a candid 2024 interview on the Howie Mandel Does Something podcast, Sharon's voice still carries the pain of that decision. She revealed something that cuts right to the heart of every parent. It was very hard on me because we were traveling all over the world. We were doing a million things, and Aimee wasn't a part of that. But here's what makes this story so much deeper than just a family disagreement. Sharon continued, "It made me feel terrible because I didn't have my whole family." Can you hear the anguish in those words? This wasn't about money or fame. This was about a mother feeling like her family was being torn apart. Now, let's step into Aimee's world for a moment. Picture being 18 years old, standing at the crossroads of your entire future. On one side, there's guaranteed fame, financial security, and the chance to be part of something that would make television history. On the other side, there's the unknown, your own path, your own identity, your own dreams. Aimee's reasoning was both mature and heartbreaking. She explained, "And for me, personally and who I am, as far as morally, and also just to give myself a chance to actually develop into a human being as opposed to just being remembered for being a teenager, it didn't really line up with what I saw my future as." Think about that for a second. At 18, most of us are still figuring out who we are, what we want from life. But Aimee had the clarity to understand something profound. That fame at that age, in that context, might prevent her from ever discovering who she really was underneath all the cameras and chaos. While her siblings Jack and Kelly were thrust into the spotlight, navigating teenage years under the scrutiny of millions of viewers, Aimee was quietly carving out her own path. She didn't just reject reality TV. She was building something entirely different. Under the stage name Aero, she was developing her musical talents, writing songs, and crafting what would become a distinctly unique sound. In an August 2020 interview, Aimee revealed, "I was always interested in writing music and singing. Having that creative environment, it was a natural part of my everyday." While her family was dealing with the pressures of constant filming, public scrutiny, and the loss of privacy that comes with reality television, Aimee was in studios, honing her craft, developing as an artist on her own terms. But here's where the story takes an even more poignant turn. Sharon's explanation reveals the depth of Aimee's decision. She was 18. It's a tough age for a girl, and she just didn't want it. She loves writing, she loves singing, but she doesn't want to be a pop star. She wants to be a professional singer and writer. She's not looking for fame and power. She's happy doing what she does. There's something beautiful and tragic about that, isn't there? In a world where everyone is fighting for their 15 minutes of fame, where social media has made us all desperate for validation and attention, here is a young woman who had fame handed to her and walked away. But the cost was enormous. While Jack and Kelly became beloved figures, navigating their struggles with addiction, their relationships, their careers all in the public eye, Aimee became something else entirely, the invisible Osbourne, the one people forgot existed. The daughter who chose privacy and paid for it with years of separation from her family's shared experiences. Sharon's words reveal the real heartbreak. She just didn't want the attention. But sometimes when you're trying so hard to avoid attention, you end up missing out on connection. The very thing that brought the rest of the Osbourne family closer together, sharing their chaos, their dysfunction, their love with the world, was the thing that pushed Aimee further away. Fast forward to July 2024, and we see Aimee making a rare public appearance at her father's funeral after Ozzy passed away at age 76. It was a poignant return to the public eye, a moment that reminded the world that she had always been there, just out of the spotlight, living her own life, pursuing her own dreams. Looking back now, over 2 decades later, it's impossible not to wonder, was Aimee right? In choosing privacy over fame, in protecting her formative years from public scrutiny, did she save herself from the kind of intense pressure that can destroy young people in the spotlight? Or did she miss out on something magical, the shared experience of her family's incredible journey? The truth is, there's no right answer. Jack and Kelly's experiences on the Osbournes gave them platforms, opportunities, and a bond with their parents that was forged in the fires of shared public experience. But it also meant that their struggles with addiction, with relationships, with growing up, all happened under the microscope of public judgment. Aimee's path was different. She got to fail privately, to grow privately, to discover who she was without millions of people watching and commenting on every decision. But she also had to watch from the sidelines as her family shared experiences she wasn't part of, as they created memories she couldn't access. In a 2020 interview on New York's Q1043 radio show, Aimee explained her perspective with remarkable clarity. I had grown up around having a pretty well-known dad anyway, and I always really valued my privacy within that family. There's wisdom in those words that goes far beyond celebrity culture. How many of us have struggled with the balance between being part of something bigger and maintaining our individual identity? How many of us have had to choose between family expectations and personal authenticity? Aimee's story isn't just about a celebrity daughter who avoided reality TV. It's about the courage to say no when everyone expects you to say yes. It's about the strength to forge your own path when there's an easier road right in front of you. It's about understanding that sometimes protecting who you're becoming is more important than embracing who everyone expects you to be. But it's also about cost. Every choice has a price, and Aimee's choice meant years of separation from her family's shared narrative. It meant being the forgotten Osbourne, the one whose story didn't get told, whose struggles and triumphs happen away from the cameras that captured everyone else's. Today, Aimee continues to make music under her ARO moniker. She's created art on her own terms, built a career based on talent rather than fame, and maintained the privacy she valued so highly at 18. She's proven that there are multiple ways to be successful, multiple definitions of a life well lived. And perhaps that's the real lesson in Aimee Osbourne's story. In a world that constantly tells us we need to be seen, to be heard, to be famous to matter, she chose a different path. She chose authenticity over attention, growth over glory, and artistic integrity over easy fame. Sharon Osbourne's words still echo with the pain of a mother who felt her family was incomplete. I didn't have my whole family. But maybe, just maybe, by allowing Aimee to find her own way, the Osbourne family actually became more complete. Maybe having one member who chose privacy allowed the others to embrace publicity more fully. Maybe Aimee's absence from the cameras made her presence in their real lives even more precious. The story of Aimee Osbourne reminds us that behind every famous family, there are untold stories of the people who chose different paths. It reminds us that sometimes the most rebellious thing you can do isn't to act out on camera. It's to simply refuse to perform at all. In the end, Aimee Osbourne didn't avoid reality TV because she didn't love her family or because she was ungrateful for the opportunities. She avoided it because she understood something that most 18-year-olds don't. That who you become in your formative years shapes who you'll be for the rest of your life. And some transformations are too precious to share with the world. Whether she was right or wrong is something only Aimee can answer. But her choice, and the courage it took to make it, deserves recognition. In a world full of people desperately seeking their moment in the spotlight, there's something profoundly brave about the person who steps back into the shadows to find themselves. What do you think? Was Aimee wise to protect her privacy and forge her own path? Or did she miss out on something special by avoiding the Osbournes? Have you ever had to choose between family expectations and your own authentic path? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If this deep dive into the untold stories of Hollywood families resonated with you, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps us bring you more of these fascinating behind-the-scenes stories. And if you want to stay up to date on all the latest celebrity news, scandals, and the stories that never make the headlines, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Coming up next week, we're diving into another family mystery that's been hidden in plain sight for years. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Until then, remember, sometimes the most interesting stories are the ones that were never meant to be told. This has been Star Wire Daily. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.